Hey, everybody, welcome back. Now that we've finished constitutional chaos, we know everything that the Constitution has to say, what it means. Let's start taking a look at the world we're in. The entire reason I did constitutional chaos is because everybody has just been screaming it's unconstitutional left and right. And I don't actually believe that the majority of people really understand what's constitutional and what's not. And I've had several interactions with people on X about laws and judicial rulings that give more power than the actual Constitution, so on and so forth. Welcome back to the Green Egg Girl podcast, Political Hellscape. All right, so the number one thing that we're seeing right now is the amount of judiciary control. So the way our system works, you end up setting precedent. So court cases, depending on how they're ruled, can set a precedent and you can jump off of that the next. So what happened was the Supreme Court set a precedent, and that precedent basically gave them unlimited power. It doesn't really work. And precedent can be overturned. So what we saw with Roe v. Wade, precedent of Roe v. Wade has been overturned. The precedent can be overturned. So it doesn't actually have anything to do with the Constitution itself. It just has to do with the precedent and how we're functioning. Now, you end up seeing the judiciary who basically gave themselves power back in the day that says, hey, we can do whatever we want. We can rule. We are judge, jury, executioner. That's not actually the case. So going all the way back to the Constitution, the president is in charge of foreign policy and how to deal with all of that. So we're watching everyone have an absolute meltdown over Trump's deportation policies, and we're watching judges try to stop him, blah, blah, blah. Those people are foreign. As far as I'm concerned, and as far as I'm reading the Constitution, it doesn't apply to those who come here illegally. It doesn't apply to non-citizens. It applies to the citizens. It is a protection for us. It's not a protection for foreign entities. So all of these people who cross the border illegally, they're in our country. This doesn't apply to them. They're not here legally. Why on earth should we spend all of the money giving them due process? They're not entitled to due process. Citizens are entitled to due process, but people who just wandered over the border have been given all kinds of benefits that they didn't earn. Bye. And as far as I'm concerned, what happens to them in El Salvador? Not my problem. 100% not my problem. If the president of El Salvador sets the standard and says, hey, if the United States government drops you on my tarmac, do not pass go, do not collect $200, you're going to jail. And then we're going to assess whether or not you are safe to be released into our country because you are a criminal for having gone into a foreign country illegally. What else have you done? If that's what El Salvador is going to do, then that's what El Salvador is going to do. And for anyone from El Salvador who's in my country illegally, take yourself home. Because if you don't want to end up in a prison, if you go home of your own volition, you're probably not going to end up in a prison. All right. So our Supreme Court just throwing down and swinging around their power. I don't care. I don't care. They don't have that power under the Constitution. They granted themselves that power based on precedent. I don't care about precedent. I really just don't. I care about the Constitution. The president decides how to deal with foreign affairs. Foreigners being in our country is foreign affairs. If the president says, hey, if we find these people, they're not here legally, they're going back to their country of origin. What happens after we drop them on their country of origin soil? Not my problem. Don't care. I care about my country. And 9 justices who've been appointed, and I don't care who they've been appointed by. They have been appointed. They're not elected. They don't get to make the law. They don't get to sit and impede the law, because the law of this land is you come here legally or you don't come here at all. That is the law. That's what they should be upholding. The fact that they want to usurp and they want to take more power, that to me is unconstitutional. But sitting around having an entire media campaign against the president yelling about unconstitutional, so far, the only thing I've seen that he's done that is unconstitutional is make a speech law on behalf of another nation. Mr. President, why are you making speech laws on behalf of another nation? That's what I want to know. That is what impedes my constitutional right. Speech laws have no place in the United States of America. No place. Now, again, I don't believe that the Constitution applies to people who are not citizens. Therefore, if you want to ship kids back over to wherever they came from because they said the wrong thing on a campus, all right, you start applying that to the citizens of the United States of America, not so freaking much. Freedom of speech is freedom of speech. We can say whatever we want. I didn't see anybody go to jail or have any consequences over Black Lives Matter or any of the Antifa rallies. None of that mattered when it's American citizens being threatened, when it's our president being threatened. I don't see any consequences, but my word, you talk about one nation, and all of a sudden we're anti-free speech in America. It's a little wild. So far, that's the only thing that I have seen really that's unconstitutional on behalf of President Trump and what he's doing. Everything else, pretty well within his purview. And 9 justices don't get to decide that they run this country. That's unacceptable. Now, another issue that I'm seeing, executive orders. All right, they're great. Why is nothing being codified into law by our representatives? So the president, as I explained in Constitutional Chaos, is actually the furthest removed from the direct will of the people. We vote for him, but it all goes down to the electorate. So if he is the most far removed and the closest to us is our direct representatives, why on earth is he the only one that's making rulings that we all wanted to see? By we all, I mean the majority of America. Why is nothing being codified into law? Why are they all out taking pictures and photo ops of, oh, look, the Republicans are the party in charge. Look how many of us there are. Okay, what are you doing for us? Because under the Constitution, you work for us. We elected you. We sent you. You're supposed to be representing us and what our will is. The president should be doing what's best for the nation at large. But he's trying to do everything. What are you all doing? You're not representing your districts. You're not representing your states. You're doing what the party told you to do. You don't represent the people. You're representing a party. And the party goes with whoever's giving them the money. And I'm going to do a much more in-depth episode soon on parties, political parties, how they came to be and how they are usurping the will of the people and bending to whoever pays the most. Because I'm sick of it. This is a country for the people. And the people are the citizens of this country. And the people are sick of getting burned. Now, another thing I've seen, it's not just, oh, it's unconstitutional, blah, 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 blah. I saw a clip, and this is, I have not seen the full video. I really don't judge people until I see the whole video. It's just a clip that I saw, and what Steve Bannon said popped out to me and just got my mind turning. He said something about the United States being post-constitutional, so we need to calm down. That's dangerous to me. And again, this is no judgment against Steve Bannon. I have not gone and done the full deep dive. I don't judge anybody by their clips. I just don't. I have a firm, solid rule. For heaven's sake, it's part of why I actually have more respect for Piers Morgan. And I've gone and watched Don Lemon in his own words, okay? So in no way is this a judgment against Steve Bannon one way or the other. I just saw a clip where he was going off and he said, we're post-constitutional. I'm tired of hearing this argument. If we're post-constitutional, we're cooked. This country's cooked. Because post-constitutional means the Bill of Rights is null and void. It means we're no longer a country for the people. We're no longer a country of the people, for the people, by the people. We're not. It is very dangerous. It means we don't have free speech. And we're seeing that we pretty well don't. It means we don't have freedom of religion. It means we don't get the rights to speedy and fair trials, which we've seen. It means our representatives are sitting in Washington, D.C., and they're not representing us. And the first thing we need to do is acknowledge that we have a problem so that we can fix it. Because I don't think we're fully post-constitutional yet. I think we are walking a very fine line. And we're about to hit the fork in the road. And we're either going completely post-constitutional, or we're going to swing back towards the Constitution. And swinging back towards the Constitution means we may lose things to keep our freedom. We may not be as safe. We may hurt financially for a time. But freedom and our Constitution and the rights given to us by the founders of this nation under the Constitution, that freedom is better than safety all the time. We need to go back to being brave enough to keep freedom and ignore some safety. This country is very quickly going towards a crossroads of constitutional or post-constitutional. We, the people, need to decide. I'm in the process of writing a book on all of this and the dangers of moving towards that post-constitutional life and what that could mean for the future of this country. Because quite frankly, I don't care about any other country. I care about the United States of America. Pray for this nation. Hold on to your freedoms. Bug the crap out of your representatives. If you don't want every executive order that Trump has put out to just be overwritten in 5 minutes the way he did with Biden's and the way Biden did with his before, and every president who's gone before us has had happen, you better start lobbying your representative. You better start pushing them to do what is best for you, the people, rather than the parties. The party system, this partisan BS, it's got to go. Because the truth is, there's really only one party. There's just a very fine line. There's a ton of overlap in who's spending what and how they want this country to go. There's a massive overlap. If you want to see real lasting change, it has to get codified into our law and not in giant unreadable documentation that we the people can't understand. Because the truth is, the law is so giant and bloated and overrun and overwrought with just nonsense that we don't even know what the law of this land is. You know it. I know it. That needs to be fixed. All of the laws that get passed should be easy to understand and easy for people to comply with. We should be able to govern ourselves on the whole. You shouldn't need a lawyer to be able to explain the super quadruple triple speak that's coming at you, because it's way more than even double speak. You should be able to look at the law and go, oh, okay, that makes sense, and move on and know which side of the law you're on. Instead, we live in a world and in a country where you're really on the wrong side of the law no matter what you do. There really is no completely following the law. And at some point, even good law-abiding citizens, if you go against what the government wants, they're going to get you on something. We've seen it happen repeatedly. Ponder on this. Please comment, question me. I'd love it when people comment and question you. I'll give me more ideas for podcasts. Part of why I did this one is because X is a crazy wild wasteland of argument, which I enjoy. So ponder all of this, pray about this, and let's get our country back to where it belongs. Let's get our country back to a country for the people and by the people. Because nothing else really matters. Have a great day.
Let's